the remote for my skateboard. Unfortunately, I smashed the screen on it.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
The accelerator was sticking, so I went to pull the remote apart, and when I was doing it up, I over-tightened this screw and it cracked the screen. A bit of a bummer. My board's got to go in for warranty anyway to fix a low cell in the battery, so I guess this is as good of an excuse as any to send the board in. I've been putting it off because I enjoy riding it so much. This is my welding bay. The trouble I have in this shop is they're just tin sheds. There's literally a 0.6 or 0.8 bit of tin separating me from my neighbours. My neighbour's office is right against that wall there, and the downside of sharing a shed wall is not only can you hear them working, you can hear them going to the toilet. And that's one of two reasons why I'm going to put some insulation on the walls. The second reason is acoustics. I spent a lot of time having to edit the audio to try and get rid of the echo from within this building, and it's gotten better the more stuff I've bought in here, but hopefully a little bit of insulation will make a big difference.
The next day.
Today's my first day in the shop since installing the insulation on the wall. I have to say that it's made a big difference to how it feels inside the shop. I do have the door shut at the moment just to try and balance the light in here for filming. My neighbour isn't here yet, so I don't know if it's made an audible difference between the two workshops. Hopefully he gets in later and we get to test that out today. I want to show you just how easy it was to install this on the wall. This bottom panel through here was 1200 high, so I didn't have to cut the insulation down at all. And all I did was roll it out against the wall, and I just made these little battens that fit within the slot on the corrugated iron and hold it in place that way. Since I rent this workshop, I didn't want to do anything permanent and glue it to the walls or do anything really expensive like panel up the walls. So a nice, cheap, simple way to insulate the walls, and if it's successful, what a great idea to do it in your home workshop. See the weight of the bench just bends those tabs. So simply to move this bolt back under here where there's some support. Now I was just editing, repairing that wheel sequence, and it wasn't super clear as to why it wasn't installed correctly when they were initially installed. I just mocked up a bit of this racket framing to show sort of how it all came about. I wanted to highlight it a bit clearer in case you choose to do this on your own racket shelving. So this is the end of a normal piece of racket framing. The hole for their branded wheels is out on this tab. These two middle benches here have the racket branded wheels on them. My CNC has the racket branded wheels. and my welding bench has the Racket branded wheels. The rest of my benches all have these little 50 kilo wheels that I picked up from a caster shop. So partly because they fit straight in, but what happened was when I started loading the benches up while using this tabbed hole, the existing hole, the tab just simply wasn't strong enough and folded up. Racket have welded a plate through this section, and drilling a hole in the middle, you get the full strength of the thickness of the material. So if you plan to put wheels on the bottom of your Racket benches and don't want to shell out for the Racket branded wheels, definitely drill a hole and mount them in the center of the frame. Pretty obvious once you know. If you're like me and in a rush a lot of the time, sometimes you think it's easier and learn the hard way. So I'm fully aware that those wheels aren't up to the task of me standing on the workbench. So I found a lot of the noise was actually coming through the holes in the ceiling. Those wall sheets actually don't go all the way up into the existing insulation. So I know I stood on the bench to fit this panel of insulation, but I certainly won't stand on the bench or climb up the wall to pop insulation up through here. And I have this leftover piece of the roll we cut down. I'm going to go ahead and grab a ladder over the next couple of weeks, pop some of that insulation up there and just see if that little difference will solve the problem we've got before we go to the expense of covering the rest of the walls. So thank you guys so much for spending this time with me. I truly appreciate it, and I'm going to see you in the next one.